to WCS Challenger North America. And we've got PiLiPiLi taking on JonSnow. We're going to be jumping into belts against Scarlett eventually. You know that screen that we show when we're on break and stuff? These photos are... I find them quite hilarious because M. Canning was like super smiley on it, and then Scarlett just kind of destroyed him. And now we have the super smiley bells up across from Scarlett on it. So we'll see if he suffers the same fate eventually.
This is also a very fun match, though. I'm glad that you were able to hop into this one. Pili and JonSnow, two of North America's best at the moment, for sure. We actually saw Pili have quite some success. I think his run at Katowice was truly a moment where everybody was like, oh my god, you know, how good is Pili? He's just winning series left and right against these European players that nobody thought he was ever able to defeat. And he was even in a winning position in that PvP, you remember, where he left perhaps a little too early. I was like, it is crazy. So it's awesome to see Pili. And JonSnow, in my opinion, is the best North American Zerg, other than Scarlett, of course, but Scarlett is spending a lot of time in Korea, and I kind of meant like US Zerg, you know. JonSnow is American, Scarlett's Canadian. But so this should be a great match. Both of them were able to...
Where does PiLiPiLi live, you said?
San Diego. He's originally from Kazakhstan, but he lives in San Diego.
That's a nice city, I heard, actually.
Yeah, it's
never
great.
been.
No, it's. I mean, they've got a nice zoo. The weather is always fantastic. I heard it's great as well. I haven't been much. I've been to the zoo though. I thought the zoo was a little underwhelming.
The one in San Diego?
Yeah.
Well, what did you go for?
Why do people go to the zoo?
Yeah, why were you in San Diego? Like, you don't usually travel just to travel, very rarely, right?
It's by car. You can drive, you know. I don't mind driving.
From LA?
Yeah, it's like 2 hours, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was way further.
No, it's not that far. So it's like, you know. Oh. Sorry, I'm just letting Scarlett and Bills know that I'm ready.
Actually, I haven't been to a zoo in a long time. But I feel like a lot of zoos, they also like treat animals poorly, so it's very hard. It's like the tiger thing, right? In Thailand, I think that's really cool to see tigers and stuff, and I love tigers, but I heard they treat the animals very poorly, so I don't want to support it and go there. That's my way to protest, Kev. As the French are very good at protesting.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean to some degree. Yeah? I don't know. I just heard a lot about the San Diego Zoo, so in my mind, I really thought that this was going to be like the coolest thing ever when it came to American experiences. Yeah. You know, everything is bigger in America, and I don't know what I had in mind. Maybe like something safari-like almost, you know, just like tigers and lions everywhere. And in the end, I walked around, and it was big. Don't get me wrong, but you know, there's a zoo in Rotterdam that's also pretty big.
You checked out everything?
Yeah, pretty much. I went around the entire park. I mean, it's nice. I'm not hating. I just, in my mind, you know, I really thought that if this is like a well-known zoo in America, I thought that this was going to be mind-blowing, and it was just all right.
You know, I was amazed and disappointed at the same time by Six Flags, because I thought it's really sick and they have a lot of great rides, but there's just a lot of people. And
Magic
you need to wait all the time,
Oh, Magic Mountain is so cool. Anyways, let's talk a little about Pili, the man from San Diego, who's going up against JonSnow. We don't know what happened in game number 1, right?
No. Not at all. We weren't there.
All right.
And by the way, PiLiPiLi, he doesn't like to make choices, apparently, because Dark Shrine or Glaives, why not just get both?
I like it as well. The problem is that JonSnow has 7 roaches on the way.
I think he's hoping there will not be spores. He shows the adepts, and then you don't start spores, right, for a fact.
Well, there is an Overseer on the way already for JonSnow.
Yeah,
but we saw that a single Overseer is not always good enough.
Look, he shows the adepts there. That's on purpose. He wants all the units to be there so that in that case, even if there is one spore in the main, he could snipe it.
But JonSnow wasn't born last night, Todd. He knows that amount of adepts ain't right.
He might not have been born last night, but I feel like he knows nothing in this case.
No, he
does. He does.
No, I think he does. He's going to have to micro a little bit against these Dark Templars, though, and Pili will pick them up. And he also left a couple of roaches to deal with the adepts, but Pili is still going to shade forward. Kind of a risky shade. Doesn't get that many drones, I believe. Good play so far by JonSnow. Like, he makes it look easy, but that ain't easy at all.
Yeah. Reacted nicely. No Dark Shrine was lost, though. That Queen overextended a little bit.
I love when I compliment someone and then we take a look at the main and just a random Queen gets still obliterated by 4 Dark Templars. God. Can't catch a break over here, Todd.
2 Archons going to be more off the back of this. Now he knows that JonSnow's been forced to, or rather, like, has been going to roaches. I don't know if he's been forced as much as he had already kind of made up his mind on what he was going to go into.
Yeah, I think JonSnow definitely prefers playing like Link Baneling styles, but obviously, you know, if your opponent's opening up with 7, 8, 9 adapts with Resonating Glaives, you can deal with it with just Links and Banes. But it's a tiny bit risky, especially if you're also worried about a very quick possibility for your opponent to go into Archons.
Yeah.
And suddenly, instead of like 8, 9 Banes, you're going to need like 22 Banelings. And maybe JonSnow didn't want to do that.
Who do you think is winning?
This game?
Yeah.
Well, I felt that JonSnow was winning, but I am not sure about this massive Roach counter. PiLi is really good.
I think PiLi is winning.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna side with you there. Even though Ravagers change things, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's just Roaches, I absolutely believe PiLi is winning. 6 extra gates. I think this is a very tough hold, but I don't think it's an impossible hold.
Yeah, see, those force fields gonna have to be on point here. Maybe synergize them with some overcharges. Lots of pylons. You always need to do this. You don't want to have just 1 or 2.
You gotta drop the Archons now. The Archons are gonna have to help out a little bit, even though they're low on HP. But obviously, PiLi can micro them. The Warp Prism. Oh my god,
they didn't have
still
shields.
low on HP.
Yeah, they didn't have shields yet. Those didn't regenerate on time, it looks like.
Thought, can I change my prediction?
You can. But then you have to give odds.
I mean, Charge is actually finishing up. But during all of this, JonSnow is also getting 2 extra hatcheries. Macro hatch, and he's getting the gold. And he's obviously not done here yet with these Ravagers. He's going to try to micro around a little bit. 3 Immortals though, you gotta respect 3 Immortals.
You
so
want to change
PiLi
again?
hold. Yeah, I might change again. I might go back to PiLi. That's a sick hold though, Todd. That was not easy at all.
Yeah, cleans up, and behind this charge is going to be finishing. He's going to have quite a few Zealots here to work with.
Right.
And there is no transition whatsoever from JonSnow. Finally goes for a Hydra then, but that's very late.
Game number 1 between Bills and Scarlett has started. Nothing too much has happened yet, but Scarlett has taken a forward expand on Defender's Landing. So as soon as we, well, let's say as soon as the Roaches of Scarlett arrive on Bill's side of the map, we can take a look at it, because these games thought they often come down to the first push.
All right, just let us know whenever you want to switch. You're in charge. You're the captain.
That's great. That movie was on TV last week in the Netherlands.
You watched it?
Well, I already watched it before. Didn't we watch it together in the cinema? In
Did
America?
We went to watch so many movies, man. We've had so many dates that I don't remember.
So I already saw it. I told my mom to watch it, but my mom is like, well, I'm not going to watch it on TV. Way too many commercials. You know what? I'll record it and watch it tomorrow. And that's
I really hope your mom doesn't sound like this.
No, she
And I
doesn't.
really hope she doesn't hear you making her sound like this.
That's okay. My mom is just, you know, she's like, she hates commercials, so she does anything to avoid them.
Tell her never to go to America.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be a big fan of the NBA or NFL. All right. I'm keeping a close eye on my game.
What is going on here? A couple links are killing. Whoa, whoa,
Well,
what?
the Mothership Core is attacking the
What?
pylon. That's what's going on. Bill, oh, excuse me, PiLi.
Mothership Core is siding with the links.
PiLi.
He's busy across the map here trying to micro his heart out. Still hasn't
Oh
picked
my
up.
God.
One Zealot was warped in.
That was terrible. He just lost like 17 workers or something. And this army of JonSnow is pretty massive as well. Meanwhile, I mean, we're not going to jump right now, but in my game, Scarlett is pretty all in as well. But let's take a look at this massive fight. All these Roaches, Hydras, there's a lot of Archons though. Guardian Shield helping out quite a bit as well. Zealots coming in from the south. I feel PiLi should have gone for it, Todd.
Yeah.
I think every time he runs back, it's better for JonSnow.
Embrace the chaos. He's going to go forward, snipe some of these oversteers there. Could actually go for some DTs now again.
This Hydra count is juicy though. I don't know if PiLi can do much against that. Oh, he lost so many workers. I think PiLi is gonna have to transition, and that's exactly what he does.
Just go for it, no? At the same time. Force field is going to be available, yeah, because he's getting sentries. I think he's worried about lurkers, and he should be. There is a lurker then on the way, but it's going to finish in a long time. It's one of those buildings that takes forever. Look at that concave, these Immortals.
On creep, I think it's very hard to fight against this army. Most of the Archons have disappeared, and that might very well be JonSnow's moment to go for it. He's got a couple of Hydras on the north side as well, Todd. He can maybe get the Prism, and that means no more Warp Prism micro for you, PiLi. Oh, he has 2 Immortals in it. It lives.
Pick up.
If he drops an Immortal and picks up the other one, he's crazy. He is crazy, Todd. He is crazy. PiLi is a crazy man. Stop it. I can't believe he's doing that.
Trying to save everything that he can here. Can he have a hold? Oh my god! Oh! Oh my god. And more disruptors will now come out. There was just a second ago, there was 100 supply difference.
No.
So for PiLi to hold, he's going to be pretty tough.
There is a 74 supply difference. Army supply that was. Now it's only 63, so soon it's going to be quite a few lurkers. Meanwhile, Scarlett has taken a 1-0 lead already over Bills. Guys, yeah, there was a massive fight. Like, I can't switch to my screen when there's like
What happens?
Well, defenders landing, forward hatchery, like 18, 19, 20 drones, whatever it was. Roach, Ravager, Rush, Ling reinforcements, you know.
Oh, we've seen that. We didn't need to see that again.
Like, you know, it's one of these things you don't have to see.
It's like Captain Phillips, you know, I don't need to see it again. I've seen that. I've seen the one line that's relevant in the movie, and I know it, so it's all good.
The one line that is that immortalized the movie. Nobody can ever say with a straight face that he's the captain.
Yeah, that guy was a sick actor, actually.
I think he's in a lot of stuff now. He made a great career out of it.
Can you imagine, like, being this guy everywhere he goes? People only time.
Yeah, I'd be really sick of that. A couple of lurkers on the south side do get blown up, but it feels like JonSnow, the numbers are overwhelming, even though he's been losing a lot to a Photon Overcharge there. There are just so many lurkers. Great macro by JonSnow in this game. Obviously, the gold helped out. GG, JonSnow evens up that series. That was a fun game, though, Todd.
Yeah. It's like me, man. Everywhere I go, people just look at me. They're like, oh, look at the supply. I'm like, I'm trying to eat here.
It's like me. Everywhere I go, people are like, hey, Roddy, do you know where Todd is? I'm like, God.
What? They never ask for me.
Yes, they do. Over here on the right bottom side, looking in the main base of our Canadian Zergs. He's up 1-0. It is a Scarlett. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the multi-game action that we're bringing you. We know it's a tiny bit chaotic from every now and then, but at least we're giving you guys so much more gameplay than we normally do. Over here on the left top side, this man had an amazing series against Semper. He's down 0-1 right now, though. It is Bills. Should have a better opportunity. Representing Elevate, I should add that. And of course, Scarlett, team expert. Hopefully for Bills, he's going to be able to play a real game. Those PVZs on defenders landing where, you know, Zerg players start making roaches after 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Actually, they start making it a lot faster. It shows up in your natural at the 4-minute mark. It's not fun, Todd. Those games are hard. They're painful. I almost feel the best way to deal with all those silly builds is 1-gate Stargate. Obviously, in Nexus, 1-gate Nexus.
It solves everything. It solves all your problems.
I don't know. I think at least it keeps you alive. Because I feel like with Robos and stuff, I mean, obviously you can hold with Immortals, but I was looking at the defense. I was casting that game, but I was also looking at the defense that Bills was having in the first game. And it was really not bad. Like, it looked all right, not bad overcharge, you know, used it at the right moment, was dropping force fields. It just, he couldn't hold. Like all the Zealous cannot hold.
It's tough, man. Holding that door. I have to say, Scarlett's all-ins, they are on point every time she uses some. Like, it's, I don't think I've ever seen actually her lose in the recent times with all the ones that she's used, and especially in best of 5 series, right? There is always going to be like 1 or 2 of those coming out, and if they're refined and do well, then I guess that's good for her because it increases her chance to advance and do well.
Yeah, especially lately, current map pool and a couple of changes that we've had. It seems like those early game builds, especially when you have the execution of Scarlett. It's ridiculous. Todd, you were hoping for some crazy all-ins earlier. You didn't get it back then. But I'm looking at the production tab. I see a Twilight console. And I see Charge being researched. 3 minutes and 20 seconds in.
Yeah. And the Robo is there for the prison.
I think we're going to see a lot of gateways. The gas number 3 and 4 hasn't been taken yet. Is this a full? No.
Here we go.
L'explosion, the gate. Give us like 6-7 gateways, Bills. And let's party.
I think 8. Should go for 8. Stop mining gas in the main. That's a sick build right there.
8 is great.
I rate 8.
Sorry, Todd. Hey,
mute on time?
Yeah, I did mute myself on time. Hey, FIFA season, man. It's been rough. Taking all this medication and it's not helping.
It's only 3 more gates so far. And I still see probes being made.
He needs to get more though.
Yeah, let's see.
Unless he wants to go up to 3 bases.
Yeah, it looks like a Nexus.
Yeah.
So I guess he's just the same as when you go Glaives and Adepts, except he's going Zealots.
And a very fast Templar Archive.
Maybe still more gates, let's see. Even if you get a 3rd Nexus, you can get more gates after.
He's taking the gas, but now I think it's a little unlikely. Let's see where he goes with this. Like, it's cool, but it's important that he actually gets something done.
You need to go before there are Hydralisks on the way, right?
Yeah, well, Hydra then finishes up, so How do Zerg players get a Hydra then at 445, Todd? This is why I like moving out early on with adapts and stuff, so you can force out a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest. Because this is, I feel like this is ridiculous. When you give a player like Scarlett the ability to do whatever he wants. When she played against McCanning, or M. Canning for Gemini if he's watching, then you know, she was just droning up. She made 2 links, went pretty much straight into like 58 drones, couple units, straight into 74 drones, and nothing but roaches and hydras. This time it's an incredibly fast layer with an even faster hydra then. And this is gonna be hard for Bills, man. I'm not sure if Bills can deal with hydras that quickly. I mean, at least he's gonna have charge, and if there are no banelings, maybe. But it's safe to say he needs to buy time with the Prism. And so far, Todd, that ain't going that well.
Yeah, Scarlett sees the charge. He's probably already thinking about going across the map and killing him before he can get to Storm or anything like that. Because you see charge this early, it's always going to be Storm coming out with it. But in this case, Bells actually gets a bunch of Archons. I just saw one morphing in the production tag. Oh my god.
No, it's gonna live, I think. But it's taking quite a bit of damage. Bills, they're both at 48 workers. So Bills, no, Bills, what are you doing? You can't stop at your Prism. What is oh my, no, he takes this detour. What is going on? Oh my god. Ends up losing it with 3 Zealots in it as well. And that's pretty big, Todd. That's gonna make it even more difficult to hold against this relatively low eco. But obviously crazy amount of units pushed from Scarlett. With Hydra 6 minutes and 28 seconds into a game shooting at this third Nexus.
It's going to have to be a hell of a crazy hold here for Bells. He's not even going to wait for the second Immortal. He takes the engagement head on. That overcharge put in a lot of work, actually. It really saves it. Oh, if he can save the Archons there.
Wow.
He runs away. One of those dies. That is so sick, actually, that he was able to save that and actually cleans up quite nicely there. Nicely done by Bells. Going for Archon was the right choice instead of trying to rush Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you needed this early, Scarlett's going to drop a Baneling Nest now. I think Scarlett made a mistake that thought, not focusing the sentry. I think sentries are massive, and it was standing pretty exposed, but Scarlett didn't go for it. She also had 6 Hydras that were still chilling here that could have been part of the fight as well. So
well, these guys wanted to paid vacation after they sniped the Prism.
Yeah. They're like, our job is done here. It's like, no.
Actually, we still got a game to win.
6 Hydras definitely could have made the difference. But good job there by Bills in holding. Takes care of those changelings as well. But Scarlett ain't done yet. There is a Baneling Nest, but do you want to make slow Banes? I'm not sure.
Well, if you have this many Hydras, you might as well, right?
Scarlett is going to go for it. He actually positioned their army to the left. Bills doesn't know about this, which means Bills is stepping on creep.
I think Bills is picturing a Scarlett taking her 4th base and droning up. I don't think he realized she's only making units, and those are very scary units. Creep in the middle of the map at the 8th minute, typical Scarlett.
And here come Banelings coming from the north side. Where are all the Hydras coming in from the left side as well? It's so important that this War Prism stays alive. Bills knows it as well, but I don't think Bills has enough. The Zealots will get blown up by these Banelings, and all the Archons get picked up, and wow, this entire army just got wiped off the map. The sick army positioning by Scarlett, setting the bait.
Bells had a great hold earlier, but this one, that one observer right now, he's the one sending smoke messages that basically run for your lives, because that attack will be almost unholdable, I think, from photos.
I find it so hard to fight against Zergs with Banes. You know, Zealots are great, but it always feels like, you know, if you A-move, Zealots run straight into Banes. This gets still tricky, even if they are slow Banelings. You see a couple of these Zealots running forward. Good job there microing with the Prism, but I'm afraid it's a little too late. GG, Scarlett, the reigning WCS Challenger champion of North America, takes the 2-0 lead.
Look at this. It looks like a scouting overload. But here it is, dropping the links. JonSnow trying to do some damage against the Stargate opener of PiLiPiLi, who didn't realize yet that this was happening.
He's going to wipe in a couple of units now. At least he had his wipe-ins ready. Oracle's going to help out as well, trying to clean up those links. How's JonSnow's economy? Oh, see, 44 drones. That's pretty good.
Yeah, trying to go behind this. Like, sure, they didn't do much, but he's already got +1 melee on the way, so going to be playing that Baning style we see from a lot of Zergs.
Oh, Scarlett, her games feel so short today, though. I mean, there was one game against M. Canning that lasted
8 minutes. I was looking.
Yeah?
I was like, yeah, that's a quick game.
Was that the longest game?
No, the shortest.
Oh.
No?
Well, I mean, a couple of the games so far against Bills, he's already up 2-0.
Yeah. The first one sounded like he was very quick. You were like, yeah, I mean, Bells against Scarlett. Okay, Scarlett won.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, all right, we're going to give you guys some live updates. All right, I've got an update. Scarlett just won. Everyone's like, oh, thanks for nothing, Roddy. As we have a couple of oracles flying across the map, picking up a queen. Good job there by Pili.
Where's the lair?
There is no layer, Todd. Like
Exactly.
there is no spoon.
Exactly.
Oh, there it is. That was a spoon too.
Double robo from Pili here on that one base.
A little bit of old school Showtime, it almost feels like, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players were doing that, right? But back then, the meta was very different. We were playing against a lot of Ravager roaches into lurkers.
That too, and Hydras were weaker, don't forget about that. See a stasis wipe being wiped in there. A couple of, wow, that's pretty cool at the same
House on this
time.
unit.
Does he have enough? Oh, actually, I don't know. All the queens there as well, and a couple of circlings. I'm not sure if that Pili has enough here. I really love the attack, don't get me wrong. I love the idea. I just don't think that it's going to be enough. In the end, he might get a couple of drones here in the main. 3 have gone down, 4 now. I'm not sure if I would call it a success, but at least he's probing up at home, so it wasn't a total disaster.
It's always nice when you start 2 robos like this. You go for this attack, you go home, and they just finish. You're like, yes,
Spend
it was
that
meant
money.
to be.
Yeah,
The stars aligned.
that's like when it's...
My macro is so good.
what is that crazy sales day in America when everybody runs to...
Black Friday?
Yeah, is it Black Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought Black Friday was related to the poker community only, when they banned online poker. But yeah, that's kind of what it feels like, right? Like you're busy on the other side of the map, you come home and you're like, oh yes. You warp in, you start all your expensive units, you start your Immortals, you start your Prisms. You're like, life is good.
But in reality, it's more like people storm supermarkets and step on one another to try and steal those big TVs.
Well, these days at least they're a little lighter. In the old days, you had to be careful if you trip with one of those old TVs. Man, those things were heavy, Todd.
Still would be a whole lot cheaper. Hence the sales, man. 4th base now well set up for JonSnow. He's at least getting these upgrades. I think like he's gonna start dropping Banelings as soon as he hits +2, because that's the timing they blow up probes.
Well, there is
instantly.
still a Stargate on the map. Don't forget about that. I think this is one of the reasons why Pili is probably opening Stargate, because he knows JonSnow, I know JonSnow, and JonSnow is the type of Zerg that also loves to fly Overlord with Banelings into mineral lines over and over and over again. And you know, once or twice it may not even be that bad if you already have 70 workers. But then suddenly you check your worker count and you're like, oh my god, I've got 42 pros. This is not good.
Look at that guy. Just chilling. Needs to be patrolling, like, you know, there.
I think
I don't even see
eventually-
pylons or cannon there.
Yeah. Eventually he will, but you're right, that is a very exposed mineral line. Game number 3 between Bills and Scarlett is live, but we're gonna follow Todd's game for a bit. Nothing is happening so far. It's on ascension to IR.
Yeah,
so-
well, this time.
Yeah. No. Since this is the deciders match, that if something crazy happens early on, I'll scream to the producer. But defenders landing, Todd, don't give me a hard time for it. It was nothing, man. It's like a couple of roaches running across the map.
Oh my
Go
god,
low.
this Phoenix. You see that?
Yep. Phoenix did what?
Just walked in next to a ton of orcs in Mordor, man. They didn't do a damn thing about it.
In Mordor? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Is that like a World of Warcraft thing?
All of the rings.
I never watched it though.
Really?
Yeah.
No interest in it, or
Nah.
you don't like orcs,
Oh, I do love orcs. I just don't like Lord of the Rings.
so you don't like orcs?
No, I love orcs. Orcs are great. I love Farseers. I love grunts. Anyway, stay
So you like the Warcraft movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god, watch some movies, educate yourself.
Wait.
Have you watched Star Wars?
I boycott Star Wars? No, only the Phantom Menace.
Oh my god.
I knew it was the greatest movie,
Somebody
so I didn't want to
help
watch
this
the
guy.
other ones. All right, Banelings roll forward, connecting with a couple of Zealots there. JonSnow had a lot of links at home, perhaps defending against the Prison Wars though. Infestation Pit halfway down, Spire going down as well. I think he's gonna go, yeah, I guess high for that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a very late hype, right? Compared to
Yeah,
what
it
you
doesn't
usually
feel like
would
he
see.
rushed it at all.
And I look at his army, I'm like, well, the supply is not all that matters here in this case.
It's a good force field, and it's a lot of storms. But I also feel if you're Pili right now, Todd, if I have that army and I walk around with that many High Templars, I'm worried. Because I am that Protoss. that will not pay attention for a moment, and then 3 Banelings connect.
But that's why you only keep like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and then you morph the rest into Archons.
But
That's
he's
a
got all
bit
of them.
greedy to keep this
Yes,
many.
no Archon stud. This is a no Archon army. Well, he's morphing 1 Archon somewhere.
It's a no Archon army. Like, it's a fact. This is a no-fly zone.
Scarlett is actually running across the map now.
Oh my god.
It's 4 minutes in, but we're gonna stay in your game a tiny bit later, tiny bit longer. I'm gonna wait with the call.
Yeah, JonSnow's walking across the map as well, and looks like he wanted to engage. What is going on here? The lack of Archons might actually help. So many storms have landed. Might need to start morphing some of these guys. Oh my god. You called it!
Oh, the Bailey's coming. No, he shouldn't go for. He should go for the High Templars. That's exactly what he wants to get. Storm keeps a couple of
They
the High
don't get that
Templars
much
safe,
yet.
though.
These are the ones with the most energy, so no. I
Oh.
think he can just counter-attack.
Producer Martin, we need to jump to my game real quick. Otherwise, people are going to get very upset. Scarlett, once again, he just runs across the map. 25 drones, roaches, 2-3 Ravagers, Lynx. He drops a couple of corrosive balls. There was more Warprints. Oh no, you're powering the wrong thing. Bills could power the gateways, but it's too late. I mean, he didn't have enough. So that game is over. We're going to go back to Todd's game immediately. Scarlett advances to the semi-final of the upper bracket. That is correct, right?
Yeah. And
is now 1 series away from qualifying for WCS Valencia.
PiLiPiLi and JonSnow here will keep on clashing towards the middle of the map, but that no Archon army
so risky.
cleaned up with all of these storms and these Immortals being left untouched for the most part. They lost most of their shields, but
If Lynx...
even if this dies here, to be fair, like this has done enough already from PiLiPiLi.
if you lose all those Immortals though, Todd, these storms are sick. I don't even know where they're coming from. A couple of Archons are morphing, but are they done in time? JonSnow picks up almost every single Archon. Now a couple Zealots coming as well. What a sick game. What a sick close fighter in the end. It's important for JonSnow. I think he picks up those units. That is a very low HP base. Transfuse being dropped. Can JonSnow keep it alive? I don't think he can. It's so close, but no. It's going to fall, and that means that PiLiPiLi is obviously putting himself in a sweet spot. And he's actually getting ready as well. Look at the production tab, Todd. 2 Stargates, Fleet Beacon.
And JonSnow's actually, like, he lost these 2 hatcheries, but he preserved a very heavy drone count, 76 walkers. So he can just kind of retake that. Like, obviously, his economy is not going to be in a great place for some time. But since he's got the Great Aspire, he's still all right.
Yeah.
And I think PiLiPiLi is just going to keep on expanding, maybe with a 5th.
That fight on top of the ramp that you were showing earlier was such a sick fight. It felt like those Immortals were like Spartans, you know, they're just standing there. Somebody could make a sick animation trailer of that, just shooting left and right.
Just like kicking the Hydralisk down there in that hole.
Yeah.
And falling.
Exactly, that's pretty much what
This is madness.
Uh-oh. Couple of Zealots around this Great Aspire as well. I'm not sure if there's any energy left on the remaining Queens.
Wow.
There is not, so the Great Aspire gets sniped.
This is the dream.
PiLiPiLi is playing great. Though. If I was JonSnow, I wouldn't even go for Broodlords anymore. Tempests are going to be out anyway. I mean, I don't know what he's supposed to do, because obviously Hydra Bane against the 4 base Protoss with a lot of
Mutas are not really an option.
No. Well,
maybe Lurkers, and somehow try to make something happen with Hydra Lurker, but he knows there's going to be Immortals plus High Templars as well to synergize.
I actually think that Mutas is not even the worst choice. If he can
Against
get the
triple
money.
Stargate Beacon?
Actually, yeah, you're right. It's the worst choice. I was not aware that Stargate 2 and 3 finished up for some reason. I thought it was just a single Stargate. Sometimes you can go for a Muta switch against a single Stargate. But yeah, triple Stargate, I don't think it's a very wise idea. Because obviously you just get Phoenix range then. Unless you can just somehow surprise your opponent with 20. But it's probably not going to work. Good job here by JonSnow. He's going to find a couple of these Zealots. We'll pick them off for nothing. But I'm worried for JonSnow. Because I think as long as PiLiPiLi doesn't step on creep and really exposes himself,
Man,
he's going to have a hard time.
is it me or like PiLiPiLi loves his High Templars a little too much? He has so many of them. It worked out so far.
There's no such thing as loving your High Templars a little too much. There are stasis wards here as well. Gotta be careful with your Zealots, PiLiPiLi. He's been losing a lot of them. But he's got so many storms, Todd. Good job. This is one Bane. This one Bane gets a sneak peek of the army. So guys, if I were you, I'd run. That's exactly what the army of JonSnow does. JonSnow's getting a couple of Vipers, Todd.
Yeah, I think he wants to abduct some of these Tempests and kill him from afar, because then without them, PiLiPiLi can't ship away from really far away. That's very risky to move him on the map like this. Oh my god.
Banelings coming in from the north side as well. Banelings going to probably come in from every angle. Can JonSnow get on top of these High Templars? There are a couple of Hydras as well. There are just storms raining down on every angle. But in the end, the Zerg somehow cleans up this army. Thought all the High Templars are gone, the Immortals are gone, and these Tempests are going to fall as well. What a sick engagement
And he still has too many High Templars. Okay, finally gets a little too worried here, and he should be. Morphs in a bunch of Archons. PiLiPiLi,
Wow.
he moved out at a weird timing there, just before maxing out, and with way too many High Templars as opposed to Archons.
Great
those
engagement
Banelings.
though by JonSnow.
Yeah, they eventually reached these High Templars and blew him up.
There was nowhere to go. They were storming in every angle. It looked awesome. It was a great battle. In the end, I like the way that went for JonSnow, but I still think he needs a tiny bit more, because I always feel like with Hydra Bane against 4 or 5 base Protoss, you can take 1 good fight, 2 good fight, and then eventually there's like a disastrous fight, right, where Hydra Bane just doesn't kill anything. When getting close to that phase, the first push is always the hardest. The second one is pretty hard, but eventually Hydra Bane does lose its juice. I'm not sure what I would recommend for JonSnow though. This is kind of a tough position to be in, right, as a Zerg. Like, maybe the best thing you can do is just make more Hydra Bane, but it comes down to having an amazing engagement.
That hatchery, I think, will be evaporating momentarily. Darkshrine's going to start as well. I think he realizes that by weakening the economy earlier of JonSnow, some DTs could be good if there are no spawns in some locations. Void Race actually starts. All right, now he wants to teach him a little respect.
Have you seen how slow Void Rays are when they activate Prismatic Alignment right now?
Yes.
It's so sad. They are the saddest flying unit ever.
They're a shadow of their former self.
Yeah, I know. Like in the glory days, I feel like Void Rays remind me a lot of like a certain.
Oh my god, what?
Ooh, a couple of Banelings rolled in from the north side. A couple of Ducks being used as well, and Blinding Cloud. Storms do land on a couple of these links, but another pretty good engagement by JonSnow. Just keeps pulling in these Tempests one by one. Oh, that's an amazing storm though by PiLi, right in the middle of all those Hydras. But the swarm thought, these numbers are insane. I have no idea where JonSnow is getting all these units from. PiLi is still harassing on the top side.
Yeah, Mothership Core died with some more overcharges in the tank. There is an Overseer there, so even if the Darkshrine finished, that wouldn't even be a defense, I think. And JonSnow somehow, wow, just blasted through this defense of PiLi, triggered the Stasis Wards before going in,
More
and
of
cleaned
the
up
story.
house.
Do you know where this went wrong, Todd?
He had too many High Templars.
No, he made a Void Ray. I feel... JonSnow is like, respect! You want to know something about respect, young man? Respect this.
Respect is earned.
I feel like a Void Ray is a lot like Mike Tyson. You know, in the old days, it was powerful, it had flux veins, it was everything that it's not these days. It's still packed with
What is
punch.
it these days? It's still good.
It's still, but it's slow, Todd. It's only a shell of its former self.
Don't say that to his face.
More Hydras coming in from the north side, picking up these Immortals. This fly of PiLi just looks kind of sad right now. He lost so many probes. He does still have a reasonable army, and he's landing a couple of good storms. Can he get that phase up? Why did he make Void Rays?
More of them in, like those that don't have energy, at least.
I mean, if he morphs us into Archons, indeed, but he lands another Storm instead. There's a Queen as well. There you have it. These 4 Archons can actually keep this base safe for PiLi. PiLi might be able to clean this up, Todd. Sick, good job with the Storm.
What in the world are we watching?
I have no idea. What
The Zealot counter-attack was defended eventually, but yeah, Walker-wise, I mean, JonSnow is still at 59. So
yeah, but can he actually make good use of those 59 work? I mean, obviously on creep, I still believe that he has.
I think he's going all in here, PiLi.
PiLi?
Yeah.
Well, it's 26 against 36 supply. It's actually mostly links. It's going to be a little bit risky to surround these Archons. Actually, a lot of these links just almost disappear immediately. PiLi just has a couple of units left. All of these units are still low on HP. The Void Ray died. Now a few Hydralisks will show up, and PiLi is forced to evacuate and lose the last Archon, the last Immortal, besides the 2 Archons he obviously picked up.
And only 7 drones died. If he had killed like 30 there.
Well, he can kill a little more maybe with the Warp Prism Arrest. This is a pretty exposed mineral line. Some Archon drop against Lynx in a more crucial phase in the game. The problem is a couple of Hydras show up.
Yeah, these guys don't joke around for sure.
PiLi.
That's +2 missile.
PiLi's losing probes to those Lynx, I think, Todd. In the end, he cleans it up. He wants to so desperately. These Archons have no HP, by the way.
Yeah, they take a long time to regenerate that.
The longer it goes, especially with this base up right now at 6 o'clock, every second that goes by is a great second for JonSnow. But for a moment there, a brief moment, I really was quite worried. I was like, does JonSnow actually have enough? Like, all he has was Lynx. But got a good surround, didn't hesitate. Took care of the Void Ray as well, very important.
And PiLiPiLi is remaking probes, actually. He wants to fully saturate that one base he's going to be mining from. Yeah, that's oh my god. Yeah, that's it.
GG! JonSnow takes the lead in this best of 5, 2-1. What an awesome series. That was great. Why are you getting like all the sick games? You had like Semper Bills as well. All my games? Well, I'm trapped by my wire. I feel like most of my games has been Scarlett, 25 drones, couple roaches, ravages, run across the map, and it is all over. Someone screams.
Yeah, we've seen Scarlett play very aggressively at times, so I guess like she just continues on with that. If you want next time, I'll take Scarlett's game.
Oh, Scarlett versus True is actually something I can join. Absolutely.
So True beat game time, I guess already then.
That has to. Do we know the score? We can take a look. Maybe we can take a look at the bracket. I know that our producer has been working hard backstage, and he's trying to update the bracket whenever he can. Bam, Todd. Fancy bracket. So a couple
Boom, that
surprising.
just updated as well live.
Yeah, he's on it. He's like, when are they ever going to ask for the bracket? These silly English casters. He's like, I miss my Polish crew. And there you have it. This is his moment to shine.
Kept on updating it, and there it is.
Yep.
He gets his shout out. He's doing good, actually. Saved us a few times as well with the score.
So Scarlett already in the semi, and then apparently the latest result that just came in is that True was able to defeat Game Time. What do you think of so far the results that we've seen? A couple lower bracket results perhaps. Silky up 2-1 over QX. Oh, actually that's only best of 3.
Yeah, that's best of 3. So QX is out sadly for him.
Wow, Raze taking out Panda BME.
Yeah, and we'll go up against Bells. And
I'm
yeah,
a little
we're waiting
surprised
on the
by
other
that.
matches. M Canning against Semper, loser round 1. That's pretty brutal, especially considering how good these guys are. But I guess it's a tournament. We do have to eliminate players, yes.
Yep. Yeah, obviously people got to drop out, but that's crazy. Panda BME dropping in the first round of Challenger. Did not expect that. Raze is good though, but Panda BME still a little more experienced. Went to a couple home Story Cups and stuff. So I'm going to make sure I can join Scarlett versus True.
Yeah, because the winner of the series I'm following right now will play against Massa, so I'll basically just follow that. Actually, I don't know, do we do both at once? Both semis?
Yeah, I guess, because we did a lot of extra rounds, and the upper bracket is delayed a little bit, right? Actually, well, at first it was the one that was ahead. That's kind of weird. Scarlett is made up for lost time.
Yeah, exactly.
Scarlett is like,
She's
oh, the bracket
part
needs
ahead.
some help. All right, here is my 25 drone Roach Ravager link push. That series
Saving
has
his
been
spots.
amazing, though. PiLiPiLi against JonSnow. I approve.
And here we are here. Once again.
Oh my god, it's Defender's Landing. I'm done. Solo cast by Todd.
Why?
My Protoss heart can't take any more Zerg rushes on this map. If it happens. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into Todd's game. And obviously as soon as Scarlett versus True is live, then I will join in that one.
Let's see, PiLiPiLi gonna go for the pylon on the ramp.
Man, you're just making Jeff happy, right? No more player introductions. You're just done with it.
Yeah, screw it, man. Come on, it's best of 5s as well, like from game day. And they keep the same colors. Like, it literally couldn't get any easier. And the name's down there. Like, all right, if there isn't like a big scoreboard with a name, sure, like you need to remind people who the guys are. But like, in this case, I really feel like it's useless.
Yeah, I think in live events it's all right, because it gives the audience an opportunity to cheer for their player.
Yeah.
When you're looking at their base and all at the same time. But maybe an online broadcast. I don't know. I think in mirror matchups it's okay. It can be a little confusing. People are colorblind, Todd. It happens.
True, but like, that's text right there. Like, you can read the name. If you have to compare it, actually,
Yeah, but
to
if
stuff
it's like PvP, how would you know?
That's true. Actually, that's why, like, when you put the cursor there, you kind of see, right, the nickname a little bit.
In-game as well. Obviously, no shocking surprise to see JonSnow go for a relatively early pull here. But this wasn't like a 12 pull, it's a little bit later.
That block, man.
Yeah, PiLiPiLi is doing a good job in being as annoying as possible. In the end, he's going to allow JonSnow to take an expand. PiLiPiLi actually went for a relatively quick Nexus as well. Curious to see how this one plays out. I feel there is so many aggressive openings that are really strong here for Zerg. Obviously, it could be Link Flood, could be Link Drop, could be Link Bane, could also be Link Roach Bane. Or not Link Roach Bane.
Doesn't JonSnow have an epic name? You remember what it is? It's like Jared something?
His real life name?
Yeah.
I'm actually not 100% sure. An epic name. What makes the name epic, though?
I don't know, like it's the way it resonates when you say it.
Jared George.
Yeah, that's a pretty epic name, huh?
He's got 2 first names.
Yeah, that's weird. Actually, not epic.
Oh, be nice. JonSnow is a lovely guy. For my part, he has 3 first names as his real name.
Imagine when they were doing the check-in at school.
Jared, yes. George, yes.
No, they were like, Jared, George. He's like, there. They're like, so which is it? Jared or George?
It could be both. It's kind of nice that you can introduce yourself in 2 different ways. Sometimes you can give your last name, sometimes you can give your first name. It's like having a double personality.
Pili has an epic name. You remember what it is?
Pavel, no?
PiLiChenko, right? His last name, I think. I'm
Pavel?
pretty sure.
Yeah, his name is Pavel. Pavel. I love this.
Why
This
would
is
you
great.
laugh?
Some great casting here, Todd. Going over people's last name. What is this? You know that I was actually very... I had huge anxiety whenever I had to say my name at elementary school when I was like 5, 6 years old. I don't know, I thought I had a very stupid name. So whenever the teacher would call out and I'd have to call my last name, I never liked it.
But, so what did you do?
Well, I just kind of rushed it out, like, Van der Kooi, yeah. And then she's like, excuse me, Kevin, what did you say? And I was like, ah! That was the first time.
Van der Kooi. Did you mean Van der Kooi?
Yes, like head down. Yeah, you laugh about this, but it was great, man. When I was a little boy, I was very uncomfortable.
And look at you now, no fear.
I've seen it all, Todd.
No fear, no anxiety, no nervousness.
Well, I want to say I've seen it all, but I've rarely actually seen a PVZ heading into a relatively normal direction 4 minutes in on defender's landing.
With still nothing relevant to talk about.
Well, I
except
mean,
that one immortal about to come out.
There's a lot of things we can talk about. Just the fact that we haven't seen a drop below, the fact that we haven't seen crazy amounts of, you know, like roaches early on being produced, or just crazy amount of Zerglings. JonSnow is testing the waters. He's playing it safe. Doesn't want to play perhaps into a pretty strong defensively set up PiLiPiLi. Because I feel like, as a Protoss player, if you want to be safe on this map, you have to cover so many tracks, and we see Pili doing that, right? With the fast robo, quick immortal, getting a lot of defensive sentries. But then if your opponent does, you know, the complete opposite of actually being aggressive and he's just macroing up, how do you salvage that situation that you then find yourself in? I guess with what Pili is doing, he's running across the map, and he's going to try to drop a couple of great force fields.
Yeah.
And see if he can not only force out a lot of units, but hopefully for Pili, also do some real damage.
Let's see if Pavel PiLiChenko's got the answer there. He's got a lot of force fields actually to work with here to buy himself time. That attack could be really strong there. It's just before there are roaches and ravagers to really counter this. Oh, he could have stayed way more. He could have just doubled force field and stayed there, re-warped in. The warp prism wasn't there. That's so weird. I feel like he might have been able to end the game if he did that properly.
I think you're spot on there. I think if the prism is there and he warps in a couple of extra units, does a little bit of warp prism micro, which
I guess
saw.
wave 2 will come, right?
Yeah. Then I think he could have done more, but since the prism wasn't there, we know how it goes, right? Like sentries are like a domino effect. If one dies, it's like plop, 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 plop. You know, all 4 of them, they just poof and they're gone. So I guess that Pili didn't want to end up taking that risk of losing all his sentries. And I can't blame him for it. But if the prism was there, then maybe he could have done a little more.
Is JonSnow going to drone up behind this? That's the question. Although he's just make units knowing that he drones up.
A little bit, though. I don't see him go like way past 60 or something. He made 7 drones, and now he's also starting 7 roaches, 5 ravages as well.
Oh, he sees all these sentries. That's a big tell here, that there's going to be an attack coming. And actually, what Pili did of not committing to this, that means that he's going to have way more sentries in the force fields than otherwise, but just like keeping everything alive and recalling as soon as he thought he might be in trouble.
That's nice by Pili there, getting a couple of drone kills with his 2 adapts.
A legacy of the Void Soul train here is en route.
Wow. How much soul does he truly have, though, Todd? That is the big question.
Perhaps enough for Jared.
Or George. I don't know. I think George has a lot of soul, and I think he can defend it if he just lands the balls properly. He has quite a few ravages. Has to be careful, though. You don't want to overstep. There's no need to go out that far. Obviously, being able to land a couple of balls on the prism would be sick. He's instead going to try to go for the sentries. So far, Pili has done a pretty good job in playing dodgeball, and he's been avoiding all of them. Gets 2 ravages there on the left side. That's not bad at all, Todd. Oh, they squeezed through it. Those
It's like
slippery.
it's a big game of dodgeball here. Like as JonSnow is trying to avoid the force fields, and PiLiPiLi is trying to avoid the
But
corrosive bile.
I feel the longer this goes, the worse it gets though, because PiLiPiLi is going to run out of energy, and obviously there's plenty.
Yeah, but he's going to
for us
trap a lot of
go.
units here from there. He still has a lot of force fields left over.
I don't know. I kind of like JonSnow's defensive position. I like the Queens helping out a little bit as well. I like the spine in the back. Obviously, Guardian Shield is doing some serious work. I think that JonSnow has to be very careful. You can't underestimate 4 Immortals. I think running forward is super risky. You want to sit back. You have a better economy. You got quicker reinforcements to some degree, even though there's a prism there as well. I don't think he needs to step off creep, and he's not doing that.
Yeah, there's really not that many force fields left. I think PiLiPiLi might just pull back. Remember, he's kind of life on the line, so to speak. He will fall to the lower bracket here if he was to lose. So he might just play it a little bit safer, just pull back, take his sweet time, go for a disruptor if he could, and threaten that counter attack.
Also qualified for Yon shopping, correct?
Yeah.
Man, JonSnow's on the run. JonSnow's on the run. Did
My man Jared
Masa,
going for
Neep, and Scarlett? Or was it Semper? It was Semper, right?
Semper, yeah.
So Masa didn't make it for
Nope.
Yon shopping.
He lost to Semper, actually.
In a 6 series, right?
Yeah.
A couple of Immortals doing a really good job and just hammering away, picking off like 4 roaches like it's absolutely nothing. Then again, roaches are not the most expensive unit in the world. I'm gonna let Scarlett and True know that they are ready, or that I'm ready at least, for them to start the series.
Second Robo with the Robo Bay is on the way. Now we got the Hydra then being added on for JonSnow. If when you reach like, oh actually he could close that himself, yeah. If you reach like 3 disruptors plus against this army, by the way, you're doing quite well. Usually, obviously, like you still need to land the Purification Nova, but we've talked about how these NA Protosses, that's what they live for.
Are you surprised that we see a Lurker then instead of a Spire? Because I feel whenever a push like that fails, the obvious response for a Protoss is like, all right, I need a Robo Bay. And then normally, when you know they make a Robo Bay, that's when the Zerg makes the Spire. And then you know when you finally have Disruptors or Colossus, whatever you may go for, that's when those Mutas show up.
I mean, Lurkers, I feel like they're underused. A lot of the time, they are not used as well as they could be. Very few players use them really well, like Nurtio, for example. So I still think they're always dangerous. Even if they are Disruptors against Lurkers, I wouldn't always say like Disruptors are favored. Unlike against Ravagers. Against Ravagers, I would say Disruptors are like fantastic.
Yeah, it's tricky. At the end of the day, it obviously comes down to control, but I definitely think that the Disruptor creates a pretty big problem for the Lurker often. Not in every scenario. Maybe there are some scenarios where if you drop some Lurkers and you can really make it a very chaotic battle, you can make sure that there is like little fights happening all over the maps.
Siege here, take that out. Like then
I think the most important thing when you have Lurkers, when you play against Disruptors, is that you don't just sit there and like, you know, eat those Disruptor shots one by one, because then you're never gonna win. You're gonna need some crazy mobility with Lurkers, but I think it's hard in general,
like, keep in mind, how are you supposed to spot the Lurkers? Observer, right? You can have a defensive Overseer and Hydralisks to take that out.
Yeah, but...
So then it becomes a lot harder.
I don't know, man. I still feel quite worried for JonSnow right now. I loved this position earlier, and with these 7 Lurkers, is he gonna try to stand?
I mean, imagine if you went up there and put them there, down.
Yeah, that would be in hold position, right? That would be sick.
Oh my god, don't climb them up.
Couple of Disruptors though, 4 Disruptors, 2 Lurkers will get picked up immediately. The next Lurkers are going to take a little bit of damage. The Ravagers take damage as well. The Swarm is coming in from every angle. It's hard for the Lurkers to really participate in this battle though. There's only 1 Lurker there on the left side that is truly getting some damage done. And thought, where's the Observer?
There isn't one. You can remove that, I guess, with Disruptor shots. I feel like PiLiPiLi managed this fight as best as he could. That was crazy. He kept on pulling back. Didn't let the Lurkers do damage. Disruptors cleaned up house and he saved most of them.
It's just so hard to engage with Lurkers though, right? Like you have to walk them in. They're eating,
but that's why like he should have been like Siege. Like he shouldn't have engaged head on. Just take his time, and then he could have Siege from up there after. Remember, there was no Observer. I really think that if JonSnow put like 1, 2, 3, 4 Lurkers there, then he's fine defensively, and then he puts them on the high ground, and he's fine again. Obviously, he cannot know that there is no Observer, but even then, still the right defense, and now it looks like PiLiPiLi might just be able to power through and get the equalizer.
Yeah.
6 series, man.
I just think it's a very hard scenario for JonSnow regardless. I don't think that JonSnow expected PiLiPiLi to have 4 Lurkers that fast, as there is an Observer making its way across the map. This is indeed an amazing series so far, very entertaining. That 1 Lurker on the right side got a couple of great hits though, actually 2 Lurkers. They got a flanking Disruptor as well, but How do you counter this army right now with all these talkers, with all these disruptors? Disruptor coming in from the north side could potentially land a very big shot. And I don't think that Pili was even aware of it yet.
Yeah.
Those
You know,
connect-
there is no blink, by the way. Like, it is
Wow,
insane.
that's insane, actually. I did not know that. That is shocking. GG, Pili indeed evens up this series. I really think that Spire would have been a better choice there, Todd, and that's not just hindsight. I don't know. I felt like it was logical that Pili would have gone for the RoboBay there. But still a very fun game. As you guys can see, we jumped straight into our first semi-final of the day, which is being played on Blood Boil. This is the very first map. Over here on the left top side, looking the main base of our Queen of Blades that had no time to waste so far. It is Scarlett.
Did you say second semifinals?
No, I said first
Oh,
semifinal.
okay. Yeah,
It
that's
is
the first that we
technically the
show.
lower bracket.
Yeah,
Or it's the
lower
lower side.
part
The
of
lower
the
side.
yeah.
Yeah. Damn, Todd. You just want me to be wrong, don't you?
No, no, I was just worried. You were. But once again, you weren't.
You were worried that I was lost? Me? Out of all people? You think I get lost in a bracket, though? It's totally
Sometimes.
possible. Especially when we start at 2 a.m. and I had a hamburger and fries for breakfast.
You had the burger from the...
Yes. I woke up right before room service ended. I woke up 10:45 p.m. I'm like, nice! Can I get a burger, please? The life, Todd.
Sick.
Over here in the right top side. Actually, right bottom side of Blood Boil, looking in the main base of our Korean Zerg, living in the Storm Gaming house. It is true.
Yeah, I've also been feeling weird going to the hotel restaurant and ordering a black coffee for breakfast at 11 p.m. They looked at me funny.
You walk in there and it's like midnight. It's funny as well is that there is a bar in our hotel. So there's often like quite some drunk people out there, loud people, and that's such a weird experience to be surrounded by those people when you just woke up. After
Yeah,
you
it's
felt
really
like
weird.
you slept like a bear. You look around, you're like, God, am I like that as well when I drink? Like this is the worst ever, you know. It's like I just rolled out of bed and I know it's 11 p.m. and I'm the weirdo here. Like these people are not weird, but it just feels weird. And obviously, you know, we're casting at 2 a.m. guys. That's our starting time. So unless you guys want us to be total zombies, we kind of have no other choice than to sleep a little during the day.
We're casting at Passion o'clock.
Yes.
That's also 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I think it's a good time actually for North America prime time viewership. That's what 8 p.m. EST. On the East Coast, and it doesn't finish too late then even for them.
Yeah, it's
A couple
nice
of these
as
guys
well.
are like students and stuff.
It's especially nice that people on the West Coast actually can watch. In the past, tournaments on the West Coast often started at 2 p.m. You know, so 5 p.m. East Coast time. But that's just kind of terrible, you know. Like everybody that has a regular job or studies is at school at 2 p.m. You know, and then by the time they come home at 6 p.m., their show is done. A lot of complaints in the old days of WCS. Anyways, focusing a little on this DVZ, we see +1 missile attacks on the way for Scarlett. Obviously, not too much has happened so far. 2 links went down, 2 scouter links. We see the roach horn being wiped in on top of this ramp. It's important to have some vision of these rocks as well, but see does. I mean, we know True, right? True is going to make a lot of units in a way that only True does it. He's probably going to take the gold. There we go. This is actually going to be sick. I have the feeling, Todd, that obviously this goes for a lot of Zergs, but perhaps for True in particular, I really think that this is a mapple that suits him. So gold bases, you know, multiple ways to link flood, just be aggressive one way or the other. There is a lot of opportunity for a man like True. And so far, Scarlett is just defending. Todd is taking a cheeky break. He'll be right back, guys. Don't worry. As you see the Roach Warren being morphed in as well in the main base of True. I actually kind of thought he was going to go crazy with maybe Link binding upgrades, but started missile attacks. He's just going to make a bunch of roaches. Had a slightly inferior economy at first, obviously spent, I would say almost waste, but spent some resources into Link's speed. But he's going to make up for that economic disadvantage that he was in by grabbing the gold. And gold bases, well, if you're unfamiliar with them, they allow Zerg to lose a lot of units. Good pickup there by True. Gets the Queen. That was a little by herself. Scarlett does still have a backup Queen though that keeps those links at bay.
Yeah, I'm following JonSnow, PiLiPiLi, and not much has happened. We're in sequencer, so I guess no better way to end a best-of-5 series when it's 2-2 than with a 35 minutes carrier versus Broodlords, aka Zerg can't win anymore because the Protoss army is too strong in the late game. That's what we've seen, I think, almost every single time, actually. Have we seen a single sequencer late game where Zerg has won against mass carrier and stuff? I don't think so. Like, almost every single one that we've shown, and we've had quite a few, basically every game on this map.
I at least had quite some personal experience, thought. Sometimes you go up against good Zergs, it feels it's not that easy. It's never as easy as these Protoss players make it look when we cast them or when we observe their games. So Scarlett has an upgrade advantage. +2 is already, I wouldn't say halfway done, but quite on the way. But True obviously had the gold quite a bit faster, so True has the economic advantage. Even though Scarlett, her gold is about to finish up. We're just getting ready, Todd, for some good old Roach Ravager wars. Scarlett is on double Evo. I kind of prefer Scarlett's position a tiny bit, even though True had the gold a little faster. Just the fact that she didn't, you know, spend money on link speed early on, and having the upgrade advantage feels such a big deal in CZ.
Yeah. You know, by the way, Nice made it, as well as Has, so it's at least 2 Protosses from Taiwanese qualifiers, or Taiwanese challenger. And we're guaranteed at least 1 Zergy out of this, because once again, this is a qualifying match for WCS Valencia.
I love how those Taiwanese players just, you know, kept the door closed. Winter qualified for Yon shopping, and then Winter said like, oh, well, you know, let's be honest, this region is kind of easy, you know, it's a lot easier for me. And obviously that is a fact, like the Taiwanese region is not better than the European one. But he, you know, he came across very confident. He's like, yeah, I lost in one, but it didn't matter. Anyways, that's his focus as True is moving forward, and he's actually connecting with quite a few balls already. Scarlett is trying to produce as many roaches as he possibly can.
And that's so many Ravagers that are hitting from behind these roaches from safety. Lings are going to stream in. It looks like True's just going to overpower Scarlett, who gets a taste of her own medicine with a 7 minutes 20 game.
Yep, and that faster gold and not investing that many resources into Roaches and Ravagers gets the job done there. True takes the 1-0 lead. Obviously, I'll join game 2 whenever it's up. But for now, maybe we can bring you guys to the conclusion of PiLiPiLi versus JonSnow. But yeah, TLDR.
It's going to be a long one here. I can feel it.
It's impressive how those Taiwanese players bounce back. They're like, we're not going to let our region be dominated by this Swedish guy who came over and says we're easy. We'll show him what's easy.
Actually, I thought that Winter was like living in Taiwan or something and studying there, but it's even in Japan that he went. So he must have been confident flying from Japan to Taiwan. Like, it's not the longest of trips, but it's still, you know, like a flight you need to take and stuff to participate. And then made it.
Was it offline?
I think so, no?
I think it's just online.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's a region qualifier. I don't think he had to fly anywhere. I mean, right now...
I was picturing that they had offline for Taiwan, actually.
I don't think that's the case. If there is, then they will definitely have to compensate everybody that makes their way.
I wonder how it worked then for lag and stuff. Hopefully they didn't have too much lag. They must not have.
Probably just play on the Japanese, or excuse me, on the Taiwanese server. Or maybe on Korean for neutral.
Yeah, but then if he's in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but in my mind, Japan is like supposed to have like not that good internet, just because I haven't heard the greatest of things about it before.
You're crazy. They're fine. It's a gaming nation as well. Anyways, we have a couple of adapts. Once again, I really like the way that PiLi is setting up these attacks with all these adapts and using the stasis wards as well. It's going to let another shade complete. It's kind of punishing JonSnow for perhaps being a bit too greedy in the past. It's a shame that PiLi doesn't have resonating glaives, because JonSnow doesn't get a very early baiting nest, he doesn't get a very early roach warren. Quite a few drones went down, but obviously we cannot say that that was you know, some light dedicated pressure by PiLi. That was more than that. You know, when you sacrifice 8, 9, 10 adapts, you definitely need to get something out of it. And he did to some degree, but I don't think it was an overwhelming success.
I'm sad we don't see the PiLi carriers anymore. He did so well with them back at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, and not choosing to go for them at all here whatsoever anymore.
We can keep a close eye on your game for a little bit longer, but just a small update. Game 2 is live between Scarlett and True, and Scarlett went for an early pull. Speed on the way, mind 100 gas, and it's just going to send a crazy amount of speed links to the other side of the map, but also expanding behind it. So as soon as those links arrive, perhaps we can jump to my screen. But for now, we can take a slightly longer look at PiLi versus JonSnow.
I wonder if JonSnow's gearing up for a big attack. Because he's getting +2 melee, a bunch of overlords, and he's already on 71 walkers. Now that he's held the initial adept attack, he was able to kind of seize up the size of the army of PiLiPiLi. And also, I've mentioned it, like in the late game, I really feel like very few of those Zergs have been able to win games against Protoss once we enter, you know, the carrier transition, the mass air, mothership, High Templar, like all that jazz. Basically all you can eat.
Basically, you need to be
Buffet.
able to deny the bases over and over again.
Yeah.
Like if Protoss gets 6 or 7 bases, it's going to be very hard.
But if you go for a timing, you need to get it perfectly right, because if you get it wrong and it's held, then you're forced to go into that thing.
As they are just going to macro up in your game, Todd. Let's take a quick look at Scarlett versus True. As Speed has finished up, and here are the links of Scarlett. We're able to pick up the Queen pretty quickly, and able to get quite a few links so far. Scarlett definitely getting much better trades. Of course, she does have speed links, but Todd, look at all of her links. They're all so low in HP, but the majority of them are still alive. True is going to try to do whatever he can to keep that hatchery alive, but I think he's been losing way too many links. He's going to end up losing this Queen as well. And I think that this spells disaster for True, who does get a Baneling Nest, but now he's going to have to fight off all these links with his drones. A lot of those links are low on HP, though. Scarlett has to be a tiny bit careful. Good stacking. Crazy opening, Todd. Fireworks.
Yeah, Scarlett's trying to catch the reinforcements, and I feel like if you hadn't jumped in there, this might have been one of those moments like, all right, guys, another update, it's 1-1.
Yeah. Well, I still think that Scarlett has quite a few additional links. I know the Baneling Nest is done for True.
True cleans up.
Yeah, True had more HP there on his links. Scarlett had more links, but obviously a couple of them were still on the way. Scarlett is getting her own Baneling Nest as well, though, and still didn't produce any drones. He's only on 13 drones. True at 17 drones. Maybe this is a hold after all, especially because True has his own Baneling Nest. I felt that looked pretty bad early on. He lost so many links. I don't think Scarlett should have gone for the natural mineral line that deep, at least. I feel like she lost a few too many links there and took too much damage. But we'll see. True is going to try to counter. He's going to spot there's plenty of Zerglings. No, Scarlett! Killing your own tumor. It's not a tumor. To the chopper.
You got that natural accent to say that well.
And whenever the Muslim imitates me, he always makes me sound like I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or like I star in a German, you know what kind of movie, Todd. It's like, Ben, that's not how I sound at all.
Hey, maybe he's not very good at impressions, but he's still funny somehow.
The Muslim is
kind of like you when you do me, to be honest.
Oh my god, those two Banes. Getting the absolute dream connection there. That was almost 30 Zerglings. Just like that, Scarlett is going to even up the series. Todd, I saw the Banes, I was showing them, but in no universe could I picture those two Banes connecting with all.
It looks like we're coming back at
links.
the perfect time. Both players were literally sitting in their base up until now. Only now did JonSnow move out to try and go for an attack. Couple stasis wards here were triggered. And again, the Baneling coming from behind, but this time around, the High Templars were in a safe location and able to move forward and then eventually storm.
Yeah, the big difference between this map and Abysto as well is that on Abysto it's a little bit easier to reinforce for JonSnow. The sequence here is a lot longer. Well, look at that one Immortal solo in HP, but the links went for the other one.
And now PiLiPiLi is going to be safe on 4 bases. The attack of JonSnow didn't work at all. And guess what? It's Carrier's time, baby!
You've got your wish after all, Todd.
I think he might just attack and kill him before, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a lot of Immortals. That is a soul train of Immortals that doesn't need a Sentry to be a strong, independent Protoss warrior. This is really interesting how PiLi is playing this, right? Without Archons. Oof.
I don't think he has that many High Templars that it warrants getting a lot of Archons yet, but oh my god. These High Templars are like,
I mean,
they're like, they need to be protected.
Yeah.
Like this is the...
Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly. Secret Service.
And
this
we've
is
got
like,
5 presidents.
we got the whole Senate up in here.
Yeah, the Congress.
Trying to
That's
actually
pretty
be
much how it
useful
looks
for
like.
us.
Stay in the middle, stay in the middle. We've got eyes on
Location secure.
yeah. Like, all right, we may need to do some cleaning up.
You know, I
over here.
started watching Designated Survivor, by the way?
Ah, I told you about it, right?
Yeah,
I just finished.
it's not that quick. Storms. Not even needed, to be fair. Like, one of those lands. It's chasing the Banelings back, actually.
There's a couple
my
of
God.
Zerglings coming in from the north side now. They may get the wrap around on the item. I love he's kind of patient with the storm.
Yeah.
PiLi, that is. He's not incredibly trigger happy. Now he spots the Hydras as well on the left side.
Shoot! Woo.
Wow, PiLiPiLi keeps all the High Templars alive, keeps the majority of his Immortals alive, and he's got carriers on the way at home.
Yeah, against someone stuck on lower tier units.
Just make Mass Corruptor. Mass Corruptor Link, Todd. That's the way to go.
Ready against Storm?
Yeah, I mean, nobody said anything about fighting. You just go for buildings and pick off carriers one by one.
Good luck with that.
There are, you know, if you can get Corruptors in high amount numbers.
Where's the mothership actually? Like, I want to see a real mothership. Not this piece of garbage here that calls itself a mothership core. Actually, no, it is pretty good.
Yeah. I think early game without it, Todd, would be a little bit of a nightmare. Been there once. Prefer to not go there. 117 army supply for PiLiPiLi already. What a comeback by PiLiPiLi in this series as well. Things looked pretty rough when he was down 2-1. There you have it, by the way. All your wishes are being granted, Todd. Meanwhile, I'm already pretty deep in the game number 3 between True and Scarlett. Obviously, I'm keeping a close eye on it. Scarlett, once again, going for an aggressive opening. If you have no fighting, Todd, I suggest we take a quick look at
I think we can.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. If Todd approves, Martin, let's give it a go. As Scarlett, once again, is on 1 hatchery, 13 drones. Here come the links. True has queens on the ramp, though. And actually picked up one of those mains. Pretty well done, but the other queen is going to fall. The connections so far are kind of decent, but I don't think this is good enough for Scarlett. And this is a surprisingly, I'd almost say deceivingly long map. These speed links are going to make it a little bit harder. True splitting off his Zerglings as well. He's going to work on these Banes. Gets the cancel on at least one of these Bane links. I don't know, he goes out pretty far. Now these slow links are going to be in a little bit of trouble as well. Good job there by Scarlett, keeping her Banes alive. This has been good for Scarlett, but Scarlett needs more than what she's got so far. And I actually think that True is holding. I'm surprised to see Scarlett doing this build on this map. What do you say, Todd?
I was following my game mostly because the moment we hoped out a Ling run by happened, I was like, God, no, please. But he didn't do that much.
All right.
For now, PiLiPiLi is still looking like he's building the unbeatable army, Roddy.
All right, well, let me know when the unbeatable army is going to clash, because Scarlett is obviously keeping up the aggression here. She's still on 1 hatch. There are once again 2 queens. She could have got the wraparound there on the queens. Instead, she's going to make some space for her own Banelings. No, the Banes
Space created.
Yeah, but okay, 1 more queen does the job. 1 more queen is going to get picked up. But I just feel every second that goes by is a great second for True.
Yeah, I mean, if this doesn't do any more damage there, I think True is going to be able to saturate that natural easily, move the spine. They are counter-attacked by True with some links. Not really doing anything.
Oh, got 2 drones.
It got 2?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have the little alerting for some reason, but 2 drones of a 13 drone economy is that's actually pretty big. So a couple links. It seems like PiLiPiLi is marching across the map, so maybe it's time. Well, Scarlett just gave up, Todd.
Yeah. Perfect timing, look at this.
Timing.
That's still so many high Templars. He has 9.
So for the people who are confused there, True, of course, takes the 2-1 lead. Scarlett was aware that her aggression just did not enough, and she didn't have an expand to follow up whatever she had in mind early on.
Are you ready for it, Roddy?
I'm ready for
the unbeatable Protoss army in all his glory.
But how many Corruptors are we looking at, though?
We've got...
What? Okay.
8.
Well, we have 17 Infestors, but Neuro ain't done yet.
Yeah, it's only now started.
That is not good. 17 Infestors, but Neuro ain't done.
Yeah. You guys want to feel the real pain? Look at
look at that is a sick Fungo though, on top of all the High Templars.
Look at what Protoss sees. Everything that's revealed and storms everything. And look at what Zerg sees. One big capital ship and a blur.
To be honest, JonSnow is actually not doing that bad.
Yeah.
If he had Fungo. He's making 9 more Corruptors now. He's going to eat a big
There is no more High Templars, I think.
No, he's going for the
recall,
big
no
mothership.
recall?
Is it going to be a recall? No, PiLiPiLi just wants to fight. He doesn't have many interceptors though, Todd. It seems like he's almost running out of interceptors, and extra Corruptors are coming up. They're coming from behind. Hydras are going to help out now as well. PiLiPiLi is going to lose a lot of very expensive units. And look at these Infestors chasing. They want to try to get a few of those extra carriers if they can. The Corruptors are on the chase as well. Did PiLiPiLi just throw the game?
I mean, he's going to remake units behind this. He's starting some Void Rains, some more carriers. These are still being chased here. He's going to regroup with the new ones.
I'm not sure if JonSnow should fight it. High Templar is going to show up as well. I'm not sure if there's any Storm available. most of the interceptors have been replaced as well, and the carriers will hold. Imagine a world where JonSnow had Neuro in that fight. That would have been a very, very different outcome.
It would have been a bad day for PiLi potentially, but he did use all of his energy nicely and got rid of this first wave of the army here. Eventually, that's a very ambitious attempt to snipe. That is not going to work.
Well, he still has 1,000 minerals in the bank, so I guess he will survive. 7 more infestors on the way for JonSnow. How many infestors did he lose last fight, Todd? What's the count at currently? Oh,
just 40 in total.
250 links as well. It's been a bloodbath. Somewhere out there.
Bloodbath.
Pig can appreciate a good old bloodbath. That's what Pig does it all for.
Oh, they came again.
Yeah.
They resurrected.
Right.
Spirit Walkers came there. Brought them back to life. That's so sick, actually. You can just kind of stay down there with High Templars.
Yep.
This is what here.
Spore crawlers are good, but 9, 10, 11 carriers with +2 attack, +3 on the way is a lot better. Gotta be a tiny bit careful though, because there are infestors once again with Neuro.
And just like that, the economy of JonSnow has just been wrecked here just now. It's below 700. Lost his key bases, trying to resaturate this one. This is not gonna stop, by the way, unless this Warp Prism eventually gets shut down.
It's getting a few extra Void Rays. Void Ray is obviously effective against Corruptors, but you got to be careful against Infestors, because Fungo is pretty good against them Rays. Maybe you can Neuro a couple Rays as well, but I'd prefer to Neuro a carrier.
There was a Darkthrone actually, so next you could actually send some DTs there. There is an Overseer here with Hydralisks, kind of looking for that.
PiLi is
they're bleeding out, Roddy.
As well. I know they are, Todd. It's a sad sight. When you're a broke Zerg and you can't feed your Spore Crawler some creep anymore. And that's when the rebellion starts. They'll join the Protoss army.
There's still these little spies here looking to try to turn the Protoss against one another.
You know, obviously I prefer PiLi's position. Normally PiLi should not lose this. But I'm saying, Todd, it is possible.
What's going on in your game?
Nothing yet. They both actually have macro-oriented openings. And other than a couple of dead Overlords, nothing has happened.
Well, that's something that's going on there, because they've been playing pretty aggressive so far.
And one more hatching while that
my god, the amount
just disappeared.
How did this guy survive? Did you see the amount of interceptors that were behind it for a second?
Chasing
it.
It
was like 60.
Couple Fungo. Maybe you can Neuro one of the High Templars and use feedback? Well, feedback is being used, but it's so far landing on the Infestors. These Corruptors are taking a pretty bad battle there, eating a couple of these Storms. And JonSnow, his supply is just plummeting. The Broodlord gets sniped as well. There we have the first Neuro. How many Neuros can we get off?
And there's no detection. That's the big mistake there. The Observer must have died. There is no revelation either.
That is a lot of Neuro. Oh my god, all the carriers from PiLi are getting sniped by the carriers from JonSnow. But
and now the Corruptors are going to clean up the units that are still neural if you manually target.
Well, the Void Ray is going to show up as well. Void Ray pushes out quite a bit of damage. There are still a couple of carriers.
That guy just came in like, I'm here, guys.
What is happening? PiLi, how can you go with it? You must have lost the Observer, right? That must have happened.
That was prior to the fight.
God.
And there was no revelation either.
Like I said, Todd, I favored PiLi's position, but there is a dream. And that was pretty much the Zerg dream. But can JonSnow counterattack? I'm not sure about that. Then again, he's never going to get a fight like that again. So I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, JonSnow is happy staying on his side of the map. Like, the Infestors didn't really die during that fight since there was no detection. So they're going to keep on charging up
but I
on
feel
energy. And like, this is just minerals being thrown away. JonSnow with a huge supply lead now.
Yeah, but Sequencer has 9 bases on each side of the map. 18 total. So I think that if PiLi is like,
so you think PiLi is winning?
I think if PiLi can... No, PiLi is not winning after that fight because he's starving in gas. And that is one big problem he absolutely has. But if JonSnow lets him max out again, then I think PiLi wins.
Yeah.
Because
that would be very hard to let someone max out who's... Like, I mean, when he's got this much, right, he's meant to maybe realize, but he's not really scouting.
I don't like the fact that PiLi is making Void Rays now. I think Void Rays are pretty useless in games that you're behind. Especially against Hydras and Infestors.
He's tired of his carriers turning against him.
Both those links. What are the upgrades on those links? Let me guess, Adreno and +3? Yeah. Oh my god. So these are link run-bys that you have to respect. And if you look away for a split second, your entire mineral line is gone. These lings are so fierce, Todd. They kill Nexus.
Actually block bases.
Yeah, very good use of burrow. What's up with PiLi and his hate for observers?
I don't know what it is actually. Like he remade one. A
Like,
backup observer would be nice.
if
and
I know
more
my
rifles.
opponent makes like 10, 12 or more infestors, hell freezes over before I leave my base with 5 observers.
Yeah.
Like there's no way.
It feels like this fight, PiLiPiLi should just ace. Like the last big fight that we saw, if he has
Yeah,
detection there,
of
just
course.
kills the infestors and it's over.
He landed a couple decent feedbacks. It started
But
off
it's-
good as well.
It's easier said than done, obviously. You know, there is
Yeah.
overseers. JonSnow is kind of fishing for that opportunity as well to snipe them, and then he knows that infestors could be uncontested.
Absolutely, but PiLi knows as well that, like, even though JonSnow did almost everything right in that fight, it's still kind of on PiLi for giving that opportunity to JonSnow to handle that better as well as JonSnow did. It's not that there is nothing that PiLi could have done there. There's a lot that PiLi could have done, and he knows it, and he will definitely... I'm sure that we'll see a cheeky tweet about throwing or not if this series goes into JonSnow's favor. But the longer JonSnow waits, Todd, I mean, this army is definitely not as intimidating as that last army. But I feel
I'm surprised nothing was done in the main. We've seen, I think it was M. Canning maybe, in one of his PvZ series, where he sent Prism with 2 Immortals and whopped in a lot of Zealots, and it basically took out the entire tech in the main.
that was the can.
Important.
We have a massive roach counter by True.
I think, yeah, this is slowing down a lot.
Yep.
If you want to switch, just say the word.
Yeah, let's say it. Let's say the word. Can we please switch for a little bit? As we have a couple of roaches of True. There are Mudas on the map, though, for Scarlett. That did quite a bit of damage and perhaps kind of forced True to make this attack that I don't think True really wanted to make. True has a lot of roaches over here on the north side as well. Scarlett is going to try to clean this up and, of course, make sure she doesn't lose too much in the main. Good use of Burrow there. It's a cool attack by True, especially with Burrow, but I think Scarlett is in a decent position.
Yeah, I think we need to look at the supply.
Okay, one big problem though, Todd. Scarlett lost her Roach Warren, which is at the front. He rebuilt it right now. But I think, yeah, with 13 drones on the way, these Mudas for Scarlett. Before this, really not that much happened. Scarlett didn't have a crazy advantage. She just went for the Mudas, and it forced True to make this attack that, well, as we just saw, you know, it looked promising, but it wasn't the most successful attack ever.
And on this map, I've seen lurkers make magic happen when they attacked. That was against 4 or 5 map situation as well. Like
This
that.
is kind of cool, though. True is getting his own Spire. He's going to try to counter Scarlett's army with a lot of Mudas. I don't think he has the money for it, but yeah, you're right. Lurkers are sick. And I guess True is aware of it, so True is like, you know what? I'm going to try to Mudas switch against you. But I'm not sure if True is going to have the time for it. As Scarlett, her Mudas are flying across the map. Should be able to force a cancel on this hatch as well. And don't forget that Scarlett is actually producing Hydras.
Yeah, her Hydra force here is going to be really nice behind the roaches. Buffer and do extra damage.
No cancel, Todd. True needs that money.
A lot of close series today.
Yeah, I mean, we had 1 or 2 quick 3Ls as well. Like the QXT Neep was pretty quick. And
Everything else though.
yeah,
on
that's
the
been
spot.
good. I've been enjoying myself, though. I have no signs of feeling sleepy, which means that I obviously must have been having some fun. I love this double run by that we're seeing over here by True. He's going to be able to buy more time for himself. And Scarlett is still kind of unaware of this Muda transition that is happening. If True is able to pull this off, Todd, I'd be shocked. This is not normally something that anybody can pull off against Scarlett. It's very hard to outsmart her in a ZVZ.
How many out there?
Mudas?
Yeah.
At least like 12, but 4 more on the way.
Yeah.
But he should hide them. Oh, Scarlett just saw it, I think.
Did she see the spire?
Yep, she
Yeah.
did.
Still got vision even on that hatchery there.
Yeah, the
Double infestation pits going down.
panic.
Alright.
She cancelled one. She's like, alright, I have one. She wants to get a couple of infestors. I don't think Scarlett probably felt that nothing could have gone wrong in this game anymore.
Since we hopped out of my game, by the way, not a single attack has happened. Just a couple zealots here and there. I feel like it's almost like it's synced for some reason. We're all linked.
Some people believe in that, Todd. The thing is, though, I feel that is not good news if you're a JonSnow fan. Because if I was a JonSnow fan, I want to hear that JonSnow is running across the map and he's going to fight before PiLi is maxed out on +3 carriers. Ooh, a couple of mutas from True are going to try to fight his Hydra force, but
Wow.
these Hydras have not morphed into lurkers yet. So that's kind of rough, and True already losing 5 Mutalisks.
Yeah, these are +2 attack Hydralisks. They do a lot of damage. And Scarlett seeing this, that might convince her to attack even more.
Yeah.
Mutas picking on Mutas.
Good job by Scarlett, scouting it in the right moment. I think if she wouldn't have picked up on it and she would have made a couple of lurkers, it could have been a tiny bit dicey. But now she just kept everything in Hydra form. She's going to get a couple of infestors as well. True is going to do what True does best, and that is counterattack, counterattack, counterattack. And it's nice and all, and he might be able to create some chaos. But what is the answer against his army of Scarlet? Well, the answer could actually be all these infestors, as Scarlet has no detection on this side of the map. Thought we're going to see some big fungals.
Yeah, one of those is going to start landing here. It feels like True needs to get rid of this army way quicker than he is, though. Like, I mean, it's nice that he's landing a couple of 3 points like Steph Curry over there, but... Oh, that actually missed.
Yeah.
That looked like me playing.
This is not Steph, man. This is like 2016 Steph. This is not 2017. A couple of Hydras will more get picked up. I mean, True is counter-attack on the other side of the map. In the main, everything has been cleaned up. True is going to get one hatchery for his effort. But is there an army? He's going to show up with a couple of extra Mutas, as most of these Hydras are low on HP, and True might actually be able to clean this up. But here are the reinforcements of Scarlet. As a couple of Mutalisks will show up, and I think a few more Roaches as well. Well, there are Roaches in the main. And this is actually an army that you have to respect.
Yeah,
Roaches
True took a
and
hidden base
Ravages.
at the bottom, but it's not saturated. So he's still in a wall of trouble.
I think this one is all over pretty much. Thought True did whatever he could do, but he knows it is just a little too late. We're going to game 5 between Scarlet and True.
Welcome back to Sequencer. Here in the bottom side, we've got Spores hanging out with Broodlords and Infestors.
Todd, it still pains me to see this, though. I feel that JonSnow missed an opportunity there. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think he could have counterattacked, but he didn't have much energy on the Infestors after that last big fight. That's the one main thing. But just these Hydras alone were scary, and there was not much gas. I think, again, like, it's one of those cases of we are watching with all the numbers and we know everything, but you could not possibly know that a Protoss doesn't have any gas behind of the back of this kind of attack. Even though, like, it did show, like, there was a lot of High Templars and carriers.
When you lose an army like that, the Protoss has to be incredibly rich to just bounce back from that. You kind of need like this Odyssey base with 3 assimilators. Have you ever taken this base stuff?
Not yet.
It's really funny. I had it once. I was like, I've never had that much gas income in my life.
Well, the thing is, it's I thought like Fungal was gonna land. I was worried here for a second, holding my breath. Yeah, like it's nice to take, but a lot of the time, like the opponent knows how important it is not to let you have it. So if you take it, like he will go and attack into you. Is there no wait? Where are the observers? I'm so confused. There is like one in the middle of this army. I think okay, both are there. Because like I saw the army move there, I was like.
But this is a lot better. Not only does he have to observe it, he's got the Oracle as well, so he can tag a part of the army.
Yeah, he fails to get all the infestors though. Just gets a few.
That's actually a pretty big fungo on top of all these carriers, but that's a lot of carriers though. I really don't know if JonSnow can win this fight unless he takes control of some of these carriers.
There's no High Templars
coming in.
Not again!
No, the observers died once again. There is still an Oracle, but not all of the infestors have been revealed. And JonSnow, not once, but twice, is gonna clean out the army of a maxed out Protoss with Storm and carriers and takes this series.
Oh my god, what?
Sick.
I was saying, like, this is the unbeatable army and you can't win against it. And there is JonSnow, is like, yeah, is that so? And then he shows us in a really long game how to deal with multiple carriers. He must have been like killing like 20 plus carriers over the entire game.
Well, he often took control of like 8 carriers at a time as well. Wow, JonSnow advances to the upper bracket semi-final, right? Not upper bracket, like the upper side.
Oh, upper bracket,
the top side of the upper bracket.
Semi-finals where we will face Massa. And that's the qualifying match that we'll have up next after Scarlett against True.
So we've got 3 Zergs and a Terran in the semi-finals of the upper bracket. Even Neep is letting us down a little bit, Todd.
Come on. He's watching probably, poor guy.
Wow. You know, the Protosses are struggling. I had all my money on Neep. All my hopes, all my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, actually we talked about this. with Gallies, you know, while casting Europe Challenger.
Yeah, you had back-to-back top 4 all Zerg.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I was saying, well, you know, Nib will save the day, and here we are. And he's not really saving the day because he
Not
lost,
yet,
he lost to Massa. Yeah.
But, you know, I still believe in
He's
good
going
old
up
Alex.
against Puck, actually. Down there.
That's a
in the-
great
in the
match
lower
for lower
bracket.
bracket round 2. Anyways, over here on the left bottom side, game 5 of the upper bracket semifinals. A very big game. The winner of this series is guaranteed of his spot in WCS Valencia, where you also get seeded into round 3, and obviously you know, you make it to the overall final, more WCS points, more money, but most importantly, if you make it here, you're top 4. True spawn on the right top side, and we see the drone count out. Only 13 drones for True. As we jumped in this game a tiny bit later, open up with a very aggressive opening. There is a hatch behind this, but it's still going to be quite difficult to hold for Scarlett. It's okay for Scarlett to lose a couple drones. It's just important he doesn't lose all the drones. As Todd is going to try to join a game, I think. There's more links streaming across the map for True. Scarlett is still at 19 drones though, so one of the spine crawlers does get, yeah, that's good. I don't know, possible. I mean, Bailing Nest is finishing up as well. Scarlett is able to get a couple of defensive ones.
Hey, that's going to be a snipe.
He can morph right now. Technically he could morph, but instead he chooses to fight with the
Chooses
brute
not
link.
to. I mean, that's so weird. She should have morphed at least 2, right? I think that would have been helpful. Then in defending against Lynx, might still be confident in defending against the upcoming wave of Lynx. Quinn, he's going to join the fray here, and looks like Scarlett is defending here from there, and he's going to have a walker lead. So I think she's going to be in a good position. Even starts walling off here around that natural with the Bailing Nest.
Still +4 drones, which is obviously pretty big. As the Bailing Nest is morphing in once again. I mean, this is kind of like, I wouldn't say a last-ditch effort, because True does have another expand, but True needs more than he got so far. But Scarlett is holding the door closed. These links are not welcome here. He's got to complete the wall. One Queen is very low on HP. True really wants to get that Queen. At least I thought he did. But Scarlett saves her Queen. And I kind of like her position, Todd. With faster hatch, up a couple workers. Gonna get a quicker Bailing Nest as well, and at this point, even amount of links. Well,
let's see if Scarlett can develop here, lead a little bit more with maybe a few more drones. Just staying safe with some Bailing at home. Morphing one of the injured Bailing as well is quite nice. True really wants to fight. Even given all things, like he's droning up behind this, but he's like, nah, let's do links. Links on links, even though you have a Queen behind this. And they trade a little bit.
Scarlett did a fantastic job in saving those Queens. 2 of them were incredibly low on HP, but both times she was able to save it. Now, you know, during the last fight, or during the last phase with that early game aggression by True, True was starting to drone up a tiny bit, so he's actually taking a minor advantage when it comes to the worker department. But True's Bailing Nest is non-existent. He doesn't have one yet. True does have 2 Queens, but if Scarlett going with 7 Bailings, thought it's very hard. Like 2 or 3 Bailings, you can maybe snipe with your Queens, but 7 Bailings? I don't know about
Lucky
that.
number 7, man. He's gonna come right in there. The Spine Crawler gonna try to maybe get some snipes. Already does some damage to it. There's so many links as well to reinforce. It feels like without Bailings, True, this will be super hard for him to defend. And those Queens will go down here eventually to those links. And from there, the floodgates are going to be open. Scarlett going to reinforce with a ton of links behind this. It almost feels like the spine she got at home defensively was like a trick to make True think she was going to play defensively, which is not the case at all.
Yeah, and perhaps True tried to catch up a little bit too
that was
fast
a sick snipe.
But yeah, all the Banes did get picked off though. True still has 24 drones here.
And Scarlett is droning behind it. She made the first wave of links.
Yeah, well, there. Yeah.
I thought that was going to do more damage, like some economic damage, but actually True holds on somehow.
I actually totally agree with you there. I really thought that those 2-3 remaining Banes, they could have just gone into the main. Everything was ready there. This is very risky by True. These Banes are about to ready. One of them does get a decent connection. So True is actually just playing some great micros. Yeah. I don't know how he's doing that, but in the end he does end up losing the majority of his links. Do we have another spine going up for True? Yes, we does. Man, game 5 is sick.
All the game 5s are sick.
Yeah. Game 5 sequencer, thought. It's gonna be a classic from now on. We have game 2 Abyssal and game 5 sequencer.
It's booked.
I mean,
no more Dasan. Give us some more epic games.
I definitely prefer a sequencer as a 5th map over like a Defender's Landing or something. Or Blood Boil. We did see Blood Boil on this series. It was the first map, but I guess in the ZVZ it doesn't matter that much. As once again, the Banelings from Scarlett is going to connect with this Fine Crawler. It does pretty much fall immediately. During all of this, True is actually counter-attacking. Believe it or not, True is a madman. He's going for the counter, wants to do a lot of damage on the other side of the map. But how much damage is he going to take at home? Because these... No! Scarlett made a misclick. She just blew up all her Banelings on the hatchery and the cocoon. That's not good at all. Because those Banelings could have killed a ridiculous amount of drones at home. And in the end now, Scarlett... No! That was a big mistake by Scarlett. I'm in pain.
You're so disappointed, man.
Well, I think everybody that, you know, like knows how good Scarlett is.
Yeah.
Those Banes, they had so much potential. These queens were about to go down.
Maybe she made a few uncharacteristic mistakes, but she does so many things so well at the same time that it's hard to just like remember the mistakes. Clearly, like
I mean,
you gotta things right.
You gotta contribute a mistake like that. It's not necessarily Scarlett making a mistake, even though obviously, you know, she messed up a tiny bit there. It's also because True is counterattacking. True is creating chaos. True is, you know, doing a lot of things at once. And because of that moment, Scarlett looked away for a split second, and her Banelings, well, the Banes were suicidal. Like most Banes, but he's
still being super aggressive. I really feel like if Scarlett wanted to, she could have just droned up and it's
a good connection.
Makes the most of what she could have there from this. Yeah, I really feel like if Scarlett wanted to, she could have just droned up and played the longer game with roaches from like really far ahead economically. But she chose to play aggressive because she thought it was a good idea. And so far, even though it was looking good at first, for now, True's just going to stabilize and take us actually a walker lead for a second.
Yeah, I think if those Banes didn't run into the hatchery, I think we're looking at a completely different game with different worker counts. And I think it's going to be even a lot harder for True to defend against this. But right now, with, what is that, 5 queens and a spine, I think that Scarlett is going to realize as well, like, all right, there's probably no, you know, no breaking that. And think we can see her going up to 3 bases quite soon. What a game. Game 5 on the line is a guaranteed slot into WCS Valencia. You'll be seeded into the 3rd round of that tournament. And of course, you already get $1,000 for making it to Group Stage 3.
Not sure how much it is exactly, but
I'm pretty sure as long as you make it to Group Stage 3, you get $1,000.
You make some dough.
Yep.
That's for sure.
And obviously you make money in Challenger as well, the further you go in Challenger. I think 1st place is $1,600. And overall, there's $10,000 up for grabs. All the players that made it into Challenger will get at least $400. And then obviously you're fighting for WCS points, flight tickets, and...
Yeah, you're right, actually. Top
money.
32 is $1,000.
That's really good.
That is sick.
Yeah. That's why...
Man, I need to play next time.
It's totally worth it. Like, if you live in, like, Spain or Italy, you know, players like Majestic, they should always go to a tournament like this, or...
Yeah.
You know? I don't know if... Is Aquarian... So, how does it work age restriction-wise? Because some of the players are allowed to play in the offline events, but they're not allowed to play in the online events.
I think that these were like one-offs. I think it's 16 plus.
Yeah, but like Raynor is not allowed to play in the online qualifiers of WCS. He's still too young. But he was allowed to play offline DreamHack last year.
Yeah, but that was different.
Yeah,
that was DreamHack,
no
now it's WCS.
Oh. You think he's not allowed to play this year either?
I don't think so.
That'd be heartbreaking.
And his birthday is actually in a long time too. It's not July this year, it's July next year.
Oh. Very sad.
Poor guy. He should hang in there, keep training, and then just win
3
everything. Yeah.
Let's go to Korea, man. He should just win a GSL. All right, we got a Nidus network up for True. Scarlett did scout it with her overseer. And she's going to wonder, where are you going to drop your Nidus? I think this Overlord has a dream thought. But it's kind of a slow dream. And every second that goes by, the Spire from Scarlett is like 80% done. Scarlett spots this overseer as well. I think that True is wasting a lot of time here, Todd. He needs to go real soon. But there is no space. There's no space for his Nidus. Scarlett is just making it impossible for this Nidus network to go up for True. And what are you going to do right now if you're True? Do you drop a Nidus? That gets like sniped immediately. I think 3 Banelings is all you need for an insta-kill.
Neeb, by the way, in the lower bracket did beat Buck 2-0. And we'll face the winner of PiLiPiLi against Stamper. Man, this side of the lower bracket is
That's
insane.
Crazy, yeah.
And still keep it game time too, I know.
Oh, really?
We'll face Bales or Rays.
Wow. That's also very impressive by Silky. We still haven't seen anything of Silky. I'd love to...
He beat QXD before that.
Yeah, I'd love to see some gameplay. Look at... This is sick, Todd. This is... Actually, you're missing Zerg art right now. All that True wants to do is drop a Nidus, and Scarlett is literally making it impossible. So he has units near every Overlord, near any Zergling, and True has just, right now he's been waiting for 2.5, 3 minutes to Nidus, and he still wants to Nidus, but he can't get anything close. In the end, he's gonna settle for the Zelnaga Watchtower in the middle of the map. Look how far away this is, Todd. Look what a good job Scarlett has been doing. You're not impressed?
I'm trying to get into another series, so...
All right,
I looked at the Nidus, but I didn't know how much charmy they have, so I don't have anything to say.
I mean, I just think it's amazing how well Scarlett has been doing,
Yeah,
how much time she was able to buy. As these Mutas going to pick up this Queen now, they're counter-attacking as well. I mean, True is sort of trying to macro up a tiny bit, but, you know, it's safe to say that this is just taking a little too long. Even though this is still an army that you have to respect, but it's also safe to say that it's kind of now or never for True.
Scarlett might block herself. Need to be careful here when morphing those Ravagers here. Yeah, I mean, he's going to hit super late. Oh my god. One Queen is doing a 1v8 versus Mutas across the map. Scarlett is not even... She's so not worried that she's keeping the Mutas across the map.
Yeah, which I actually think is a tiny bit risky. Of course, you could say maybe the Mutas don't add that much, but besides those 7, 8 Mutas, all that Scarlett has been doing is making roaches. There are plenty of
corrosive bite here if he's shot.
Yep. Oh, there's so many balls as well. This is such a powerful army from Scarlett, and I think that our reigning WCS Challenger champion, Todd, is going to move on to the upper bracket finals once again, because he is doubling the supply of True right now, and all that True has left is a couple of Queens. Fantastic, perhaps the most beautiful 2 minutes of StarCraft that I've ever seen without a unit dying. Scarlett refused to let this Nidus go up. GG. Congratulations to her and for advancing to the winner bracket final. That was sick.
So funny, because like you were talking to me about the game, so I was like, all right, I need to be extra careful. Then I follow the game, then I look down, and these guys, they are talking about how they made me host, and they're waiting for me to start the game. But I did join Semper PiLiPiLi, so perhaps we should do a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll dive into that series.
Let's do it. And of course, after that, we're going to have the other upper bracket as well that I will join, which is going to be Masa versus JonSnow. So we still got a couple of amazing series coming up for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be right back.